I think I'm with. I think we got to side with Pres Biden. Time to ban cars.
It's time.
It's time. Like, what are we even waiting for?
They're dangerous and should not be on the road.
Yeah. Once again, the reason I love satire is because it just brings so much humor. But we're actually going to talk about something serious. The 2 terrorist attacks that have happened. Our thoughts and what it all means. Find out all this and more today on Self-Evident Podcast. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon to Self-Evident Podcast. You got Massey, you got Mike. All right. And it's a day. It's here.
It's
Friday. And we're glad we're in your eardrums. So, or your eye drums, whatever. If you're watching, great. Thank you for all the comments.
Painful.
Dude, it's crazy because like Facebook and it's actually starting to pick up. Like a lot of comments are coming through, which is nice, you know. YouTube as well. It's great. Thank you so much. And subscribe if you're on the YouTube land. Subscribe. It's free. Hit the notification thing. Get the bell on there so it tells you when, you know.
The most simple of actions.
Yeah, I mean.
Take it.
Yeah. Do it. So, okay. And if you haven't gone to theselfevidenttruth.com, you know the drill, the housekeeping stuff. You got to go on there. We got some new stuff. I'm just tongue-tied right now.
You and I have been talking about a lot of different things.
We did.
And now all of a sudden we've got to like switch. He and I were talking about all these different topics. And now all of a sudden, okay, terrorism.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. I'll say the last like 2.5 months, Mike has graciously opened his home to me and Pedro. And we've been working out at his house every day pretty much at 6 a.m. And so now he's put together this kind of meal plan for me. And I'm looking at the meal plan going, I don't know if I can do it. You know, not because I don't want to. It's just that's a lot of food and prepping. And he's just like, suck it up, you dummy. And I was like, yes,
Pretty
sir.
much.
I'll do that. So we've been talking about that. Then we talked about terrorism. Then we talked about what else? We talked about.
What was it? There was one other thing that we talked about. What was that?
So we have friends that are nuts that go out work out on the weekends.
Oh.
And if you read their group text, it's like, I want you this week to run a mile, ruck up a 30,000-foot mountain, take the head off a leopard, and come back down and give it to us. You know, they're like, you see this? I can't do that. Like,
which then morphed into conversations about group texts in general.
Yeah. I'm definitely, anybody watching that knows me knows I'm not a group text fan. If you put me in a group text because it's necessary, I will mute it. So I'll go back and read it whenever I get a chance. I don't answer. I don't respond very much. And I get a lot of flack for it. Like, oh, you're never with us and responding. I'm like, no, I don't do that. So across the boards, text threads, mass emails, I can't stand them.
Yep.
Anywho, back to there was terrorism.
Hard segue. So la terrorism in America.
First off, who was the dummy that thought he could throw a bomb inside of a Cybertruck that's well built?
I love that Elon commented on it right away.
What did he say? I didn't even.
He said something to the effect of like, pretty stupid. It's a stupid move to use a Cybertruck to try and use it as a vehicle explosive device when the Cybertruck is built like a tank. And sure enough, Elon points out that the Cybertruck was parked in front of Trump Tower in Las Vegas, and not even the front glass doors were broken from the explosion. It's like, fail. And he and I, we're going to try and work that line, right? Because
I'm
like
sorry.
This is very serious. But at some point, like, he and I have a sense of humor to where it's like, okay, we can't help but make a joke or two. You know.
And again, we have to acknowledge something here. We were having a deep discussion. It's going to lead into all this, okay? This morning, we're doing our workout thing. Mike's killing us. And so we decided to talk about psychoticness. and I'm not calling you psych. Well, I have a couple times.
Yeah,
but,
you have.
but it's good. Once I get through the work and I'm like, I freaking love you, man. You know what I mean? And then the beginning of it is like, you're a psycho. But we started talking about this transgenderism. There's a lady that's coming out now that's pandering to pedophilia. I want to say it different so it doesn't get censored. And all this other stuff. And I asked the guys this morning, a lot of these transgenders and the gay, whatever, how many of them are on SSRIs? I want to know.
Yeah.
And the levels of hormones that get changed, does that affect the way people think? Right? I'm not a brainiantologist. I don't even know if that's a thing. I'm not a mental gamer person. I don't do psychology. Yeah, brainatology. I'm not that kind of guy. But I'm not stupid. I think sometimes when I'm looking at this, I look at, we were talking about progesterone spikes in people and what that affects and the sexual tendencies of people. So there's all these things we're talking about. And then we have a bunch of like this kind of stuff where that happens, this terror attack stuff. And you wonder, what are they on and what's going on in their brains, right? That they would actually commit something so heinous or that someone would even concoct something like that. And I can liken it to maybe guys like in a religious aspect, you know, the extremists, the psychos that are like, I gotta kill everybody for my religion, you know what I mean, that kind of stuff. But in America, it's different. We're seeing more of this like dysmorphia happening. Normal is no longer normal, and my normal is normal because I say it's normal, and a couple of scientists have said it, and then our American pediatric associations or whatever, like these associations. Yeah. I'm not saying they did. I'm just saying I'm naming all these names, are saying it's normal. So therefore it's normal. And it's like, how many of them are destroying themselves because of this? But my first question was, how many of them are on antidepressants, right? Yeah. And there's a massive correlation in number to people that have done school shootings or mass shootings that have been on SSRIs. Absolutely. You look at this stuff and you think about what's happening with the young people today, how, let's just shoot it straight. They get inoculated with 300 shots, then they're put on drugs, you know, to curb their whatever desires going on in their head, or, you know, the ADD, ADHD stuff, and our diets. And you got to think, there's obviously these chemical things that are going nuts in their bodies. They've got to get it out somehow, obviously, you know.
I think that's what eats me up on this, and I'm gonna try and sound controlled and reasonable, because I know I could go off very quickly on this. It drives me nuts when people are like, no, this couldn't have any effect whatsoever on that. There's absolutely no correlation. So the next question is, let's just follow logic here.
Sure.
Are you injecting a ton of chemicals into somebody, some of them to be known toxins, on purpose to get the body to create a reaction? Well, yes.
Right.
Is the hormone system, the endocrine system of a human, extremely finely tuned? Well, yes, because like we were talking about, if you raise or lower one, it affects a whole bunch of other ones.
Yeah.
Right?
Can I speak to just testosterone? If you give a person too much testosterone, their sometimes their blood pressure goes nuts, their animalistic tendencies come out, they get more angry, a little more vicious, a little more. And I'm talking about persons, not just men, but persons in general, right?
And it affects
steroids.
It'll affect estrogen production. It affects the feeling dopamine, serotonin. It affects progesterone, right? Like as soon as you up that testosterone, there are other things that will occur that sometimes you have to take other stuff to help counteract the effects of the other hormones starting to fluctuate.
Which then that drug makes other things fluctuate, so then you need another drug.
Absolutely.
Right?
So I think what frustrates me about this conversation when we talk about whether it's, you know, getting some shots or taking a pill, a medication, SSRIs, all of that, we draw this conclusion that, oh, no, it doesn't affect anything else. Or, oh, well, it only has this side effect, so we have them take this for that side effect. When our bodies are so finely tuned, and we don't always know what all happens if you change this one dial, especially in the endocrine system. And when we talk about like childhood jabs or whatever, I get kind of frustrated when people are like, no effect.
There's no
whatsoever.
correlation.
There's no correlation whatsoever. Who told you that?
Right. And why is it that you're so hard pressed not to answer questions? Just nope. There's no correlation. There's no. Come on, someone's got to ask questions. What are the studies? Right. Let's see those things. Right. I find it funny that we don't think. I should say not we. These medical professionals say that there's no correlation with shots and SSRIs with people doing crazy things. But yet a glass of alcohol can change someone's mind right away. It inebriates.
That's a really good point.
Right? Or a joint. Just, won't. But you're inebriated. You're under the influence. And if you drive or whatever, you're under the influence. But if you are under the influence of an SSRI, which could mess you up, well, we don't blame that drug. We don't actually address that. We won't say they're under the influence of something. We just say they're psychotic. And it's like, that's just dangerous, right? Mm-hmm. And it is money, right? It is money. There's no question about that, right? And with these two terror attacks, one of them, right, we're talking about a guy who was at Fort Bragg, and all these things, like, you can't tell me there's no correlation with the stuff, and I think that's important to talk about.
Let's pull this back a little bit.
Let's do it.
And I'll preface this by saying, no reasonable, normal human being that just run-of-the-mill, average human being thinks, you know what I need to do today? I need to blow up a Cybertruck in front of Trump Tower. True.
You don't wake up in the morning going, I think it's a good day to blow up a Cybertruck in front of Trump Tower
with me in it.
I'm right. You don't wake up going, I want to drive a truck into a crowd of people.
Yeah. I'm feeling saucy today.
What?
Maybe I'll take my Ford F-150 and just run down the middle of the road. Now, I know some of us may feel that way at about 4:30 in the afternoon when traffic's heavy and we hate the human population.
Yeah, but then your conscience kicks in.
Yeah, there's that part of you that says, well, I can't do that. Right. I got to get home for dinner.
or the sane side of you says, shut up, you dummy. Right? Or it's a funny thought. Or like, but there's got to be something that moves them past the absolute.
Yes. Yeah, that thing that transfers them into, this is now reality that I'm going to do this. And that has kind of fascinated me because so few human beings are willing to take that step into that realm where this is reality and I'm going to do this. And just from a psychological point of view, that very much fascinates me, that somebody can get to that point where it's not just, oh, someday I'm gonna, they're actually like ordering the truck on a random, car sharing app, and they're loading up the truck with the stuff they're gonna use as they drive down that's a different mindset in a human being. And 99.9% of us never get to that point.
Right.
And for any of you, like, is he actually justified? No, I'm saying, like, that's so outside the realm of normal human brain activity.
Right.
At least in today's day and age, that stands to reason, okay, maybe there was something going on, not just mental episode. Now, let me get into the details of this because some people, well, he was radicalized. Yes. So the first guy, Shamsuddin Jabbar, an American citizen from Texas, and I say that specifically, he was an American citizen as far as is reported. He ran a white Ford F-150 that he rental on what's the website? Golly, I didn't put it in the notes. Turo, thank you, which is a car sharing app, right? I could rent you you're not going to want it, but my Buick LaCrosse.
The Tundra, people would want.
The Tundra, yes. $4,000 a day. Go for it.
Word.
But he used this app, which this app will come back into play in a second. But he rented this white Ford F-150, drove it down Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Currently, death toll stands around 15 or so and dozens more injured. And this was on New Year's Eve, right? So originally, 3 hours before the event, or after the event, the FBI claimed this was not a terrorist attack. Mind you, an ISIS flag was flying from the bumper of the truck when he did it. Thank you, FBI. Your observational skills are impeccable.
Well, but like, how did the FBI get there so fast to understand, assess the situation, and say this isn't a terrorist attack?
Yeah.
That's That's why people don't trust you government folk. Seriously, like with our own eyes, we can see this is not normal, dude. Right?
Middle Eastern man runs truck down road, hits people. Sounds strangely like Europe, where they have had this attack happen how many times? And, oh, by the way, there's an ISIS flag that was flying from his truck.
That had nothing to do. Oh, trust us, the fibbies.
It was white supremacy. It was totally white supremacy.
Trust the fibs.
Yes, the fibs. That's a good one.
Trust the fibs, because we're the government. We know better than you do. We know. Okay.
What's the saying? There are no scarier words than we're from the government and we're here to help.
We're here to help.
So Jabbar, he was an Army vet. He worked in human resources and IT departments between 2006 and 2020. He did deploy to Afghanistan in 2009. Mind you, he was, at least for a portion of his time, at Fort Bragg. That'll come into play as well. Second, you had a Cybertruck. This happened a couple hours later. Cybertruck loaded with explosives, which was detonated in front of Trump Tower in Las Vegas, though the Cybertruck was so heavily built that it contained the explosion. And like I said before, the glass doors didn't even bust out when the explosion went. Matthew Livelsberger allegedly rented the truck in Colorado where he lived, and on that same app, Turo app, and drove it to Vegas. At some point, the man allegedly shot himself in the head. Before the vehicle exploded, they found a handgun at his feet. And I was so tempted to make a shot himself in the head twice in the back joke, but I didn't.
Which you just did.
But I did not make that joke. I could have, but I didn't. Livelsberger is reported to have been a Trump supporter and fairly conservative in his leanings. And he is reported to have been an operations director, intelligence manager involved in drones, and was a Green Beret. Now, mind you, operations director, intelligence manager, military stuff.
I first off, Livelsberger is reported to have been a Trump supporter and fairly conservative in his leanings.
It was his uncle came out and said he was a big Trump guy. He was conservative. AKA, like, he's not the type to just go blow up a Trump building.
Exactly. Well, here, let's just, for all intents and purposes, think this one through. Trump supporter, super conservative, or fairly conservative, right? Goes in front of Trump with a Cybertruck.
Dun, dun, dun.
Just think this through with me.
Through.
Okay? What happened in that brain to do that? If you are Trump's supporter, I just want to start thinking this through, because the left's going to take that and go, see, conservatives, they're all screwed up, they're extremists. No. This was a statement.
Thank you.
This is a planting of a flag. It's a statement.
This is a two-pronged statement. Statement in front of Trump Tower with a Cybertruck. He could have very easily picked any other vehicle he wanted to. But he picks a Cybertruck built by Tesla, owned by Elon Musk, new favorite right-hand man of Trump. Like, I don't know. To me, that statement's fairly clear.
Right. And then goes in front of Trump Tower. Could have went to any other building. Could have went in front of the Wynn. I don't even know if the Wynn exists anymore. Could have went to any casino and just done something crazy, because that's what crazy people do.
Yep.
Right?
Why
was it targeted?
It was not meant to take collateral damage. Now, the ISIS guy, he was meant to take collateral damage. Whether he was on his own, it was completely planned by him. Nobody else was involved.
That's where we need the camera to zoom in.
No one else was involved.
I mean, the Fibbies, no.
But
I mean, because they already ruled it out. There's
there's
nothing to see here, folks.
Although totally not terrorist. Nope, sweep that one under the rug. Anyways, back to daily news. But So this one was total statement. I think you're absolutely right, because if he was trying to commit chaos, he could have easily committed chaos with taking out a lot of people.
Right.
But he didn't. He unfortunately failed at his one goal of like doing damage, I guess, to Trump Tower. Unless the goal was not to do damage to Trump Tower, it was just to purely make a statement of, we're on to you, we're coming after you.
Right.
You know?
I think what I'm saying, you said that bomb wasn't meant to take collateral damage. Then what's the purpose of a bomb?
Right. Show of force.
It's meant to make damage, right? So I don't know, but you wrote, like, there's a section that Mike wrote in here, but here's where it gets a little. This is where you got to put your tinfoil hats on, okay? This is where we got to start thinking. Both men use the same app to rent the vehicles.
Turo, which, how many of y'all heard of Turo?
I like Turo. I've never used it, but I my buddies have used it. I like the option, but Hertz gives me some really good stuff. Let's go, Hertz.
And
not sponsored in any way.
And Turo is just, it's fascinating to me that they both use Turo. They both use the same app. They both commit a perceived atrocity within a couple of hours of each other. Now, New Year's Eve into New Year's Day, it's a very significant moment. So yeah, it's going to get a lot of news no matter what. But you both use the same app. Now, that could be coincidence, but like, I don't think my first thought is, well, I'm going to get somebody else's vehicle and then go blow myself up in it.
Right.
My thought is, I'll go to Enterprise
First,
and I'll get something luxury. If I'm going out, I'm going out in style.
yeah,
man.
blaze of glory, dude.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna die, you might as well die.
Yeah.
Like, why an F-150? Well, I guess Cybertruck could be considered. Again, that's why it makes so much sense that it's a statement. You know what I mean? Like remember Tim McVeigh? He used a van, wasn't it? It was like a van or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like you use these cars that are like super, makes a statement, right? It makes no sense that he picked a Cybertruck. To me, it just
neither.
makes it shows me, because again, the left will take this and go, see the Trump people, they're psychotic. Cyber, he was an Elon boy, blah blah. No, you're not seeing it. You're really not seeing it. This doesn't make any sense, except to say it was targeted.
Yeah.
There's real targets right now. Even the ISIS fellow over here, you know what I mean? Dude, they don't like those extremists. They don't like infidels. The Islamic religion, I don't care if you like this or not, is destructive. There's no peace in Islam. There's not. It's submission and force. If you don't do this, you're dead. You know, that's what they want. And we're like letting them in droves, dude, like a freaking porous border over the last 4 years. They're saying there's over 1,000 terrorists in our country right now. Right? There's all these things that are happening. Anyways, I don't want to go too far into this, but I want to get back to this. Here's where it gets weird. Both men use the same app to rent the vehicles. They both served at Fort Bragg for at least portions of their careers. And we were talking about that. It's like, why Fort Bragg? What's going on there? And you mentioned something. I was like,
which we'll get to. We'll get to that. Go ahead, keep rolling.
Almost 2 weeks ago, it was reported that Ryan Routh, the second Trump attempted assassination shooter, that's a lot, that's a mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Routh, the second Trump attempted assassination shooter.
I didn't know how to word that, so I was like, that's my best attempt.
Yeah, because you have to say attempted.
Right. He didn't win.
Alleged. Had been tracked to have visited Fort Bragg over 140 times.
Because that makes perfect sense. Construction worker who has small apartment in Hawaii makes massive trips over to Ukraine to recruit people for the Ukrainian firefight, is included in trying to get Afghanis to come over to Ukraine, is recorded to have been in D.C. plenty of times, and visits Fort Bragg over 140 times.
From Hawaii. But nothing to see here, folks.
And no real known income, but man, he can fly all over the world in jet set. No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
No problem. It's reported that Levelberger was also connected to recruiting special forces to fight in Ukraine, but it gets a little weirder. Fort Bragg is also home to the 4th Psychological Operations Group. The 4th Psychological Operations Group, Airborne, is a military unit at Fort Bragg. Can we just break that down, Mike? You break it down for me.
Yeah. So their mission, the Psychological Operations Groups, to plan, develop, and conduct psychological operations and civil affairs to support government agencies, coalition forces, or unified commanders. Psychological operations. They analyze target audiences and environments, advise commanders, and plan influence activities.
Oh, so there was a recent shooting, and right away Biden comes out and says, we need gun control. We need gun control. Then this happens, and no one's talking about car control.
Today I put forth a bill to forbid cars. So what are we going to do, Joe? I don't know. Cars are banned. Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, PSYOP units operate in small teams and conduct military information support operations, deception activities, and more. In 1952, Bragg became the home of the Army's Psychological Warfare Center and became the headquarters for Special Forces soldiers. Now, this is conspiracy theory lane. Everybody put on your tinfoil hat. Yeah. Put on your tinfoil hat.
We're already there,
I
Mike.
take no liability for what I'm about to say. I took no liability for any of the other stuff. Alleged,
we call
reported,
it satire.
alleged. Yeah, this is all satire. This is...
Got an eye twitch.
They're turning the frogs gay.
Again.
Do I have to read it in Alex Jones' voice so that you won't take me seriously? Although he'll try to take everything from us then. Which
Allegedly.
All of this allegedly. Timothy McVeigh met his co-conspirator Terry Nichols at Fort Benning in 1988. You're like, yeah, another fort. While they were both training in the U.S. Army, McVeigh also met his Army roommate, Michael Fortier, at Fort Benning. Now, this is what's interesting. They shared an interest in survivalism, became radicalized by anti-government and white supremacist propaganda, supposedly. McVeigh later claimed in a letter to his sister that he and 9 others were recruited into a secret black ops team at Fort Bragg. He said the team smuggled drugs into the U.S. to fund covert activities and worked with civilian police agencies to silence anyone deemed a security risk. Now, could be. Could not be.
I wonder how many of these, because there's been a few soldiers that have done this, and got, listen, those soldiers, the hell they go through, I'm not saying, I'm saying it is psychological what they're trained to do, right? But I wonder how many of these recent activities, these acts of terrorism, the acts of violence and school shootings and whatnot, I wonder how many of them went through Fort Bragg.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if there's some type of correlation. Now, there are reports that the CIA also has some type of office, at least, on Fort Bragg, which, now, mind you, Fort Bragg is massive. Fort Bragg is one of the largest military bases in the world. So we're not saying that it's this 200-person fort, some random wilderness location that's
it's not Area 51, okay?
No.
Which,
however,
is it?
But the question remains, isn't it interesting that 2 vets, both from Fort Bragg, within hours of each other, commit newsworthy events that were violent, right? There's something to that in my mind.
There has to be. You said Fort Bragg has 10,000s on the military, tens of thousands on the military base. It's one of the largest in the world, but still, their website is psywarrior.com/psyop.html. And we're not joking.
We're not.
I can't believe it, but I'm looking right at it.
And that's produced by them. They're like, hey, our website, psywarrior.com/psyop.
Trying to keep it hush hush.
They're like that 30-year-old loser who plays Call of Duty who's like, Delta Force Operator 27 playing Call of Duty. It's like, bro, get a life. No, we're psyops. Now, he and I love life. I'm just going to tell you that now. We love life. Life is grand. It is enjoyable. We love our families. We are not depressed. We are not thinking about any actions against ourselves.
Seriously.
We love life.
We love our wives, our kids. I love my church. He loves his church.
Yes.
We're very active in our communities. We also go out and preach and teach the gospel. So, no, we're not on any kind of drug or any kind of SSRI or anything like that. You can look at my medical record. The only thing I love is Twinkies. And I've had to get off that to do what I do now. So, actually, I don't even love Twinkies. It was just a joke. But
Death by Twinkies.
yeah, I mean, I haven't had a Twinkie in a minute, but
He relapsed and he ate 500 Twinkies. I don't know that math adds up.
you know what is those Cadbury little Christmas ball things?
Oh, those are good.
Oh, that was.
Now we're going down the track of like. Now I'm thinking back to like elementary school when you got like the little Debbie in your lunch or whatever.
Buddy,
dude.
buddy, little Debbie Christmas tree now.
Ooh.
How many of y'all know? Comment below. That slaps. Yeah. That stuff is gas, bro. That's fire.
Here's what you got to put in the comments. Your favorite treat as a kid. Now it's kind of a toss up for me. Is it Ho-Ho's or is it the Nutty Bars? I was a massive Nutty Bar.
Ho-Ho's are too sweet.
Bar.
Nutty Bar was it with milk.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Did you ever peel the top off and eat some of it and put it back?
No, I don't dink around with food like that. No, we don't mess around. We just tear right into that sucker. We don't do that. Nah.
I used to like savor my food. So when I was a kid, I remember like Twix. I would try to take as long as possible to eat my Twix, right?
Yeah.
Isaac does the same exact thing with his food. He will have 8 M&Ms and he'll eat like 1 an hour. And I pointed out to Melissa, I'm like, that's me. Yeah, that is totally, and I never taught him that. I never did that in front of him. That's totally
It's
genetics.
so weird because like, you got those people, I believe these people went through the PSYOP thing. They suck the chocolate off of the peanuts just to eat the peanuts.
Oh, that sounds brutal.
Do you know what I mean? They take the peanut M&M thing, they suck the chocolate off, and then they eat the peanut.
Oh, that sounds awful.
That's just dumb.
Yeah. It's like...
Yeah, the big step is when you put chocolate in your coffee and have... That's actually really good. If you never tried it, you should do it. Like, go get yourself a nice, like, chocolate from any, nice, good quality chocolate. Milk chocolate. And you do your hot pour, put some chocolate in there, a little cream. Buddy. Can't beat it. I don't know why we're on this, but I firmly believe that there's something
wink, wink,
not going on.
Yeah, nope.
At all. So don't question anything. Believe the government and believe the media.
And in other news, the government has now put forward a bill to ban Cybertrucks because they're dangerous to society. I'm kidding, but it's totally coincidence. Total coincidence. And this is, I can't stand, bro, being in the position where I am now completely skeptical of any event. Like, it always frustrated me when every event would occur and immediately people were like, false flag, false flag, false flag. Actors, crisis actors and all that. All the stuff that got Alex Jones in trouble, which was so overblown. If you look into the case, like, Alex Jones got railroaded, okay? And I'm not the, like, he's telling the truth
you're not
every
an
single
apologist
day.
for it.
No. But he got railroaded. However, there are those people out there that every time an event occurs, they're like, no, false flag, total government psyops. It's all the government. And it's like, at some point, there are a few people who are crazy enough to do something, right? Like, can we just give some leverage of human beings be nuts sometimes? So I don't like going down the road of, sounds like a government job.
Yeah, we got to give some credo to it. So, anywho's, we do this because we want to get you more information than what you're told, obviously, so that you guys can make informed decisions. What can we do about it? stand against all the stuff that's trying to ban these things. Here's where I think is crazy. We've done more to ban foods and things, all in the name of safety, which takes away the liberty of the people. Do you know why? It's easy for them to say, well, we're going to ban this. We're going to ban this in stores. You have to get this with a license, or like a photo ID, because most Americans won't buy that stuff. So of course they're going to be like, yeah, I don't care. You know what I mean? To whatever, whether it's drugs, bombs, whatever. Yeah. They won't buy a lot of those things together in sequence because it's just not what they're thinking about. But yet they take away your defense system. They take away something from you that is liberty-minded, right? And the more tragic events, you just heard it from us, that a lot of these guys are trained for, what was it called? What was it called, dude?
PsyOps?
No. Influence activities.
Oh, yeah.
Influential activities. They're trained for this. This is what they do. What's going to turn the meter? What's going to take us away? I find it funny, Biden's pardoning all these people before he leaves, and all of a sudden we have these things happen. Ain't that something? So we're just taking our mind off of what government is doing right now. Speaker Johnson, all the stuff that's actually happening up there, the whole Speaker Johnson thing, he's a lush, like they all are. They're just loose goose. They don't stand for anything. And their mindset is, I need to compromise to get ahead. And it's like, the left don't compromise with you, dude. And so these things happen to distract us from all the stuff that's going on up there. And so our always kind of fallback or go-to is, if you're in the Word, you know that conspiracies happen, things happen, trials happen, tribulation happens, and you count it all joy. It's like, okay, Lord, the earth groans and travails until you're coming. So like, things are going to happen that we can't explain, right? Mm-hmm. Hurricanes, whatever, this kind of crap, this junk. I'm not moved at all. My peace is not shaken by this stuff. However, we need to start seeing things for what they are. I'm just going to shoot this out there to you, and I love all of you, but antidepressants are dangerous in a lot of ways if they're not regulated properly. I don't know. I've never been on an antidepressant, but all I've ever seen, for the most part, with these types of extreme things, they're on something. And so we should warn to say, is there a healthier alternative than taking a drug?
And it's now it's coming out that they have less, how do I want to say this? Man, I can't talk today. Less faith in the biochemistry argument than they used to.
Right.
So they're starting to come out with research that, okay, maybe this isn't just all change and tweak some biochemistry and everything's fine. It's starting to get more into environmental factors in terms of what's going on around you, what is your life like, especially depression and anxiety, right?
Right.
Now, I think there's probably genetic predisposition.
Sure.
There probably is a biological effect going on, but how much of it is like, dude, your life sucks, or you've been through a lot and you didn't figure out how to cope. And so we train ourselves to cope in certain ways, which depression and anxiety tend to be coping mechanisms, right? And we just haven't reconciled. I don't mean the word just, but like we haven't reconciled.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like we haven't reconciled with something, and so we're defending ourselves mentally, emotionally.
Right.
Now that's not to say that SSRIs can't be useful in certain ways, but now they're starting to say, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. Which, how many times, bro, do they do that? They're like, oh, no, this is the answer to everything. And then like 20 years later, they're like, yeah, so that one thing that we told you was totally legit answer is like kind of killing you right now. So
yeah, there's a reason other nations ban some of these SSRIs that we actually serve our kids. Anywho's, go to theselfevidenttruth.com where you can find out more of these conspiracy theories and satire.
It's all satire. All of it. Okay. It's all a joke.
But is it? Guys, yeah, so support us. Go on the lines and the Faces Spaces and do all that and subscribe. And guys, if you have not become a sponsor of Self-Evident, you can do that. You can do that as a monthly partner. We call those torchbearers. Or you can just send out a one-time gift. And thank you for all those who supported our year-end newsletter. Thank you so much. It was really, really awesome to get your support, and we appreciate you so much. And we'll give you more play-by-play update stuff. I was telling my son I want to do more of a vlog style this year, just showing people what we do out there. So we love you guys. God bless you. We'll see you on Monday.